We'll have a go at assembling all the parts now then. So before we can do that, we do need to put a hole into the vase. And there was another thing that I fixed from the previous tutorial. The bar was created as a part with this outer wooden piece. So if you go to extrude 6 and edit that, you just need to change it. Instead of add, it needs to be a new part of its own. Then have a go with all the colours and you can get it to look just like this one, which is good. And you can play with the transparency to make the vase look that little bit more realistic. What we need to do before we can assemble though is put a hole in the side of the vase. So to do that, we're going to click on the right work plane and we're going to create a new sketch. I'm going to look at it from the right as well, so that when I create the sketch for the hole, it's going to be bang in line with the bar that's going to go through it. So I'm going to draw the circle, lock to the centre of that, so you'll see the orange square, draw the circle out, and the only dimension you then need to put on is the diameter of the circle, and it's exactly in line there now. So with that sketch, we know it's right, so I can finish there, extrude, sketch 8, and we're going to make sure that that is through all. Okay, we don't want it as a new part, we want it to remove. The merge scope then is going to be with the vase, so merge scope is already picking it up as part 3. And just to double check, let's hide the other parts and we'll make sure that we're the right part. So it's actually part 4 that we're wanting it to merge with. So if we cross part 3 from the list, we'll select part 4. We need just to change the direction of the hole, and you can see it's creating a hole in the vase now. So we're happy with that. We can click tick. Okay, so it won't look any different by the time I unhide everything else. You shouldn't be able to see too much except those parts that make it line up quite nicely with the bar. So if we go over to the assembly now, hopefully by this point you're a little bit familiar with assembling parts. So we're going to insert all of the parts that we need. So part 1 can go in, part 2, part 3, and the vase part 4. What I'm going to do is build it all around that bar because it'll just make it animate that little bit easier. So I'm going to right click and fix the bar. I'm then going to use the revolute or the fastened mate. Either one should work for the bar to go in place first. So let's use revolute mate, which will probably be used for all of our mates in this tutorial. So we're going to select the end of this bar, and that's going to correlate with the end of this, although we do want to offset it, because as we do that first, it's lining up exactly flush, and we actually want it sticking out 6 mm at either end. So with the offset, we're going to make that 6 mm and see where that puts us. So we're 6 mm there, perfect. I can click tick, that revolute mate's done. The next one, the outside of this hole, is going to be the inside of the larger hole here. So just making sure we're really pedantic and clicking the correct central part of the hole. It's really easy to click on the wrong bit, and that's where a lot of people make mistakes. So we can finish that revolute mate, and that one's in place. The last one now is going to be this hole here. So I'm going to select the inside of that with this bar. I've ticked my revolute mate, so that's not done anything at all. So I'm going to click back on my revolute mate. Zooming in on the outside of that hole, I'm going to line it up with the outside of this bar. Okay, obviously that's not where we want the vase to stay, but we're going to use that offset tool again and just move this along, let's say 60 mm to start with, and see where that ends up. Look at it from the front, we're not quite in the middle, so let's try 70. That's exactly in the middle now. We can click tick, we're happy with that. Now that we've finished assembling all of it, we can just start to drag and move parts around until we're happier with the way that they look. So you can see that if we're standing this on a desk, it's going to look something like that. We can revolve that so it's looking more vertical, and then adjust it to a nice angle for the picture. And there you go. We can have a render of that now taken, a screenshot if you will, taken for your portfolio. If we turn off edges as well, so where we've got shaded without edges, with hidden edges, all sorts, we can go shaded without edges, and you can see that you get the full effect of the vase, and you can change the appearance back in the Part Studio to make it more or less translucent. Good luck.